Behind every lie is a hidden truth, and today's lie by those in power is that central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, are merely digital cash. But the truth? CBDCs are far more dangerous.
Ouyang Haoyu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored.
Key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control.
They are the gateway to unprecedented government control, an all-seeing system where every transaction is tracked, logged, and rated. But the ratings won't just stop with your finances. They'll define your opportunities, where you can work, where you can go, and even how you can live your life. No, this isn't just about money, it's about control. But if this sounds too dystopian, too far-fetched to think that the United States would ever pursue such a future, think again. Right now, 134 countries, representing 98% of the global economy, are actively pursuing a CBDC.
People don't need to worry about a central bank digital currency.
Do you really believe that the US government and the elites would pass up an opportunity for such a powerful tool of control? It's those who dismiss this idea as impossible that will be left powerless and stripped of their freedoms. All it takes is one look at China to see where we could be heading, and I don't have to tell you that we're already being watched. Every online interaction monitored. Speak out against the mainstream narrative or attend a protest about government overreach, and you're labeled as a threat. But right now, the consequences are relatively mild. Increased surveillance, maybe, or as we saw in Canada, financial blacklisting, with companies the likes of GoFundMe and PayPal freezing millions meant to support the Freedom Convoy, showing just how close we are to losing our financial freedoms. But make no mistake, this is just the beginning. In China's real-life game of life, their social credit system goes far beyond simple monitoring, rewarding citizens for behaviors like donating blood and punishing citizens for behaviors like smoking or bad driving. The penalties for punishment expand to travel bans, limited job opportunities, and even the confiscation of your pet. Now imagine here in the United States how much easier it would be to implement a social credit score system if there was a CBDC. Now, this change would happen slowly at first. It would be subtle, lulling the American people in for a false sense of security. But here's how it would work. An American CBDC would be integrated with data tracking and identity systems. Oh yeah, if I haven't mentioned it yet, get ready, because the blueprint for launch includes digital identity tracking. Every transaction, whether it's a utility bill or a Christmas present, would be tracked and monitored by the Federal Reserve, creating an all-encompassing system of control. Now, you might be wondering, how is this any different from digital transactions and debit card purchases made today? And I'll tell you, there are two key pieces here. The first is the one unified ledger, a centralized ledger under government surveillance that consolidates all transactions. Because that's how the government easily identifies who's donating to charity and who's making purchases that the government has deemed undesirable. Once it has that information, that is step one. But the hallmark of a social credit society isn't just tracking and monitoring, it is punishment and reward. This brings us to the second way that it's different. Programmable. This is the beauty for governments. They can enforce their rules in live time. Let's say you make a purchase that the government disagrees with. Well, suddenly you have no more access to flights, gas, groceries. Your CBDCs have been cut off, erased, removed in the snap of a finger. Or consider this. Maybe in your mind, you've done everything right. You're a great saver. But the government doesn't want savers, it wants spenders to stimulate the consumer-driven economy. So they enact a negative interest rate on your savings account, forcing you to spend your savings. But it doesn't stop there. This, in tandem with the rise of digital asset tokenization, or a digital ownership of real-life assets such as your house, your car, even the tree in your yard, means that the government would have complete control over everything you think you own.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets.
We know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller.
Every element of the home will eventually be tokenized, including deeds.
This would leave you even more vulnerable and at risk to whatever the government deems right and wrong. Now, to be clear, a CBDC doesn't inherently mean that a social credit score system is being rolled out, but it does present an almost irresistible opportunity for those in power to implement one. By design, a CBDC is identity-linked, programmable, and data-rich. It is the perfect trifecta for a framework for ultimate control to reward and punish citizens. But the real question is, how much time do we have before a CBDC is implemented? Now, the government continues to reassure us that they have no plans, no intention. But I think you and I can both feel that momentum is building, and there is not a chance that the United States is going to stand by and be the only first world country not to explore a CBDC. But here's the danger. When it happens, it won't be announced with fireworks and parades. It will be subtle. It will be touted as financial inclusion, faster payments, a benefit for everyday Americans, potentially optional at first. They might even give you some free CBDC money at a time when people are struggling to feed their families, making it that much more alluring despite knowing the risks. But what they won't tell you is what you're giving up in exchange. Your freedom, your privacy, and ultimately the control over your life. Cash will disappear completely, and every transaction will be under their thumb. I mean, you can see it now. Imagine when purchases become restricted for climate change. Oh, you've hit your monthly carbon footprint allowance. No more gas for you. You're cut off. It might sound like science fiction, but the technology is here. It's only a matter of time until it's weaponized in the United States the same way it's being weaponized in other countries today. So what can you do? How can you protect yourself? Well, there are 3 simple steps that you can take. The first step is awareness, which congratulations, you've already completed by watching this video. Now it's time to take it a step further. By awareness, make sure that you are asking the tough questions of your banks. You're having conversations with your neighbors, with your loved ones. You're building a sense of community and making sure that people understand what is coming. Follow what's happening in your local and state government and make sure that you are current on any updates that might be coming your way. The second step is to diversify outside of the system, because when the system is digitally programmed to trap you inside of it, it is essential that you have assets that are not inside of their control, that cannot be erased or programmed or weaponized against you. Finally, the third step is to act now, not later, because the window for this will close with every pilot program, with every global development that happens. You can feel the opportunity shrinking, and by the time that window closes, it will already be too late. This isn't something that we're waiting and seeing if it's going to happen. It is happening now, and the time to prepare is now, because the longer you wait, the less opportunities you will have. That's why everyone should have a plan in place. If you do not already have a plan, a strategy with physical, tangible assets like gold and silver outside of this system, now is the time to do so. If you already have a plan, but you want a second opinion, that is what our team is for. Either way, give us a call. There's a number below. There's a link in the description. It is completely free to talk to one of our expert analysts and get an expert opinion. They have decades of experience in helping people just like you prepare for what's coming next. The system was never designed for you and I. It was never designed with us in mind, and it is about to get a whole lot worse. And that is why I'm so passionate about what I do on here and helping people like you make sure that we are all prepared together, because there is strength in numbers. So the more of us who understand what's coming next, the better it is for all of us together. And again, while education is key, it is action that will truly protect you against what is coming up next. And in the meantime, thank you so much for being here. I'm Taylor Kenny with ITM Trading, your trusted source for all things gold, silver, and lifelong wealth protection. Until next time.